Hey guys, Jesse Adams here. Thanks for joining. On behalf of my brokerage, Mason Amelia, I'm down in South Texas to present this 2024 TBM 960 November 960 Zulu. With under 200 flight hours since new, factory warranties through February 2029, and the all-new PT6E 66XT. So I can't wait to tell you more about this plane. Let's take it for a spin. Stay tuned for our coming listing. All right, so here we go. We're going to start up November 960 Zulu. So the ease of operation is fantastic. You don't have to worry about hot starts. This plane will ensure that it doesn't add fuel until the ITT's at a good temperature to start. It will do the automatic drive motoring. It's pretty amazing. All right, Nick, well.
Cool, so we'll take it away. So the first thing with the FADEC is that once you have everything, your engine mode goes to run, then the Garmin 3000 will say engine ready. So basically that's telling us that the FADEC and the computer is ready to monitor the start. So our next move there is to go to the start button and we hold it for 2 seconds. And here we go. Feet on the brakes, parking brake set. We are clear the prop. And we hold that for 1, 2, we let it go. And now we have starting. So the computer is now taking over the start. We're going to watch our parameters and just be there with the computer, but we'll also abort if something were to happen, a hot start or a hung start. It would abort before we'd even be able to. So here on your CAS panel, you can see that we have ignition. We're watching our volts, and there's our ITT.
First flight of the day, nice and cool, under 650 Celsius. Even though it's ice at plus 21 on the ground, it's a hot day.
Correct. And so now once the start stabilizes, it goes from the ITT, switches to a torque. Now our prop is going to come out of feather. And once our prop comes all the way out of feather, we'll have a good start. We can get our AC moving there. That's a necessity in South Texas.
Hey guys, we were talking earlier, Jesse Adams here with Nick.
Yep, Nicholas Pennell in the TBM 960 today.
So what we're going to do is we're going to demo this incredible plane coming to market exclusively with Mason Amelia. It's November 960 Zulu. It's a 2024 TBM 960. It's absolutely pristine. In fact, the owner, they just took delivery earlier this year, but their mission's changing. They're stepping into something probably a little bigger. What's total time on this one, Nick?
So we can get you an exact right here. The total time's 182.7, and they come delivered from France with about 40 hours on them. So we've put 130 hours on it since April. Really loved every single hour of it. Like you said, our mission's changing a little bit. The guy I fly for, he's got a big family, and he does a lot of hunting trips with a lot of big coolers and equipment. So we're looking to step it up a little bit. But for all intents and purposes, this is an incredible bird, and it's the most efficient turboprop you can buy for the speed you can get. Yeah, man, it'll treat someone real good. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So we went over the start sequence, and what we're going to do now is we did a basic round robin IFR flight plan. We're going to see what the time to climb is, flight level 280. How do you normally climb this en route, and how are you going to climb it today, Nick?
Yeah, so a normal cruise climb, it varies. It depends on the person flying it. You know, passengers in the back sometimes don't like a super steep and aggressive climb angle, so a pretty normal climb speed, cruise climb is 150 knots indicated. Today we're going to do 124 for our max climb angle. So as soon as we lift off about 85 knots, we're going to maintain 124 knots all the way up to 270 or
Carlos should be okay with that.
He will be consistently looking at the airspeed indicator for sure, just like I was the first time he sat in the back. Okay, so well, we have an IFR flight plan on file. We are going to pick it up in the air with Houston, and so we're going to go ahead and taxi to runway 16 here and depart to the west.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this 3D taxi is incredible.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, so this is the G3000 Suite right here.
Another cool feature on this throttle quadrant, so with the FADEC, or the EPEX as they call it, my feet are not on the brakes at all. We are rolling a little bit because we're on a hill. But basically, once you come into flight idle here, you add a little bit of throttle, come to this flight idle stop, your prop, basically goes into like a ground find mode, which simulates beta. And so you don't ever have to go into a beta to taxi. As soon as you go to idle on this airplane, it comes to a stop and you can taxi this airplane like any piston.
Right.
And so it's actually a very, very easy airplane to taxi.
Because when I've been in the 850 or 900s, what happens when you come to a stop, sometimes you'll bring it just right over the gate.
Exactly, to kind of stop it.
Yeah, otherwise you'll taxi at 30 knots.
Yeah, so you really, the brake usage in this airplane is at a minimum, because that also helps you on your landing roll. As soon as you get weight on wheels and that throttle quadrant goes to flight idle, you get that kind of beta ground find mode. Let me make a radio call here. Hey, Kennedy traffic at a TBM, we're taxiing runway 16 from the FBO, Kennedy. And you rarely ever have to go into reverse into this airplane. I think we've done it maybe twice just to see what it was like.
Talk just a little bit about this field, but it's a relatively short. It is
3,212. Yeah. Which this airplane does no problem. At gross weight, this airplane does about an 1,800 foot takeoff roll, and then if you want to do over a 50-foot obstacle, it's about 2,600 foot. So it's no problem at all on the takeoff roll, and the landing it's just under 1,000 if you really nail it.
Actually, Nick, one feature we really want to talk about. So this plane does not have the 6060 engine. It has the PT6.
It's a PT6E 66XT engine, which is due to the EPEX, which is the engine and propeller electronic control, which does a couple things. I mean, it does a lot of things, but the things that you're most aware of is the throttle. That you have no prop, you have no condition lever. So if you want power, it's just like a jet. You add power, or you take away power.
Just right to that, right to the firewall.
Yep.
So I was going to mention, in my experience with the TBM 850s, you really have to watch your torque on takeoff. You have to watch that. So if you don't mind, Nick, I'll put you on spot. If you could give us a takeoff briefing, and then we'll follow along and see if this plane lives up to that performance.
Sure. So we're going to be in a left seat standard day dry takeoff here in the TBM 960. Our takeoff roll today is going to be about 1,600 feet at our weight, which we are pretty light. We only have 100 gallons on board and 3 people, or 3 souls, and so we're going to expect to be off by the T hangars. If we're not at rotation speed or just below it by right before the T hangars, we're going to go ahead and abort. Rotation speed's 85 knots, and then once we rotate and get a positive rate, gear comes up 115 knots, the flats go up, and then we will climb out 124 knots.
So this power lever, you're just going to put it...
It goes all the way full, so basically it's not like like you said, you have to really watch your ITTs and your torques. You can over-torque a PT6, but this airplane, you can't over-torque. You can't hurt this engine with this throttle quadrant.
So you're just going to focus outside where your attention should be.
So once you start that movement of the throttle, it's all the way forward. You do just have one consistent power movement all the way forward, and your EPEX will manage your torque, it'll manage your fuel, it'll manage your prop, and give you the power that you asked for, and it's on demand.
Kennedy traffic, TBM 960 Zulu, departing runway 16, Kennedy.
All right, here we go. So we're clear to the right, we're clear to the left here in a second once I swing it around. So we'll line up here, come to a stop, and you'll see once I introduce the power's all the way. So here we go. So power's coming. Prop's going to kind of come out of that beta mode there. There you go. Power set to full. And so power set, power is met, and oil pressure, oil temperature in the green. We got one good engine. We are 60 knots for 85 knots. Working for center line, and there's 85. We'll go ahead and launch right off the runway here. Positive rate, tap the brakes, gears coming up. And we're going to shoot for 124 knots. So we're doing 2,900 feet per minute right now.
November 124 Echo Delta, contact San Antonio approach 125.7.
So we're passing 17,500 7 minutes into flight.
So that's some great climate performance. Again, we're light.
We're really light. Yep, but this is something you can see. I mean, we consistently fly out of a 3200 foot strip at gross weight, no problem. Direct enter that, then it'll capture. So we look at our scoreboard here. So we're climbing on GPS mode. We have autopilot, yaw dampener, auto throttles on, and we're flight level changed to 124 knots. So it's going to maintain that. Our inert SEP goes off at 10,000, which gives us some power back. All right, so there's one to go. They're not going to clear us straight up to 270, sadly, so we're not going to get a perfect time to climb, but we will do our best.
No, this is great. So once we get upstairs, we'll level it off, and within 5-7 minutes, we could see what you'll do. True airspeed. It's all based on ISA.
Correct.
ISA plus 16. It's still pretty darn hot down here in Texas.
All right, so we're going to do a little slingshot here. So he gave us 230, we're at 210, we're 170 indicated. I set FMS climb, which is 124 for a max climb. So that's gonna give us that 2,000 feet shoot pretty fast.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
And then another thing that we'll be able to see here is, sometimes you don't want to do that kind of slingshot at high altitude because it takes you so long to rebuild that indicated airspeed. But at 230 in this airplane, it won't hardly take us any time at all because we're still going to be doing 95% torque.
So we're 1 tower climb. I know it's not sustained, but look at the feet per minute. We were up to 4,900 feet per minute.
Yeah, we did a little bit of a slingshot there, and you'll see as we drop down and capture 124 knots, we only got 1,000 feet more to go, so we had to level off twice, and we're capturing 27,000 feet in 12 minutes. We probably spent a minute or two, or a little bit more, leveled off, kind of talking to controllers, working out altitudes. So as we capture this 27,000 feet, this FMS mode on the auto throttles is going to capture max cruise, which is just as much power as possible. There you go, you can see it on the scoreboard there, we're at max cruise. We're alt cap at 270.
While we're up here, guys, I want to talk to you about some distinct features that I'm noticing as we accelerate here in this 960. So for one, like Nick just said, we've just leveled off at 270. This is our final. We are quickly accelerating. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Nick, but FMS mode, when the autopilot's engaged and the auto throttles are engaged, they'll sequence your climb, so you know the indicated airspeed you're climbing at, depending on altitude.
Correct.
You have max econ or max cruise, so you have different settings here.
Correct.
ISA plus 11, if we were in a TBM 850, we would probably be maybe about 303 knots. You might see
pretty maxed out.
305 in the middle of summer here. But this right here, wow, we're still accelerating slowly. We're at 315 knots, so
true.
315 true, which is incredible. 315 true at 66 gallons an hour, which is great. If we took this all the way up to 310,
we'd be doing about 58.
Wow, yeah, that's a little more efficient.
Yes.
Hey, here's some trivia since you're a TBM 960 guy.
All right.
How many horses does this have?
This PT6E 66XT is pushing out 895 shaft horsepower, which really helps us achieve that 93% torque at 27,000 feet. We're crossing 320 knots true. So, a comparable aircraft, for instance, if you were in a PC-12, which is really in a different category of an airplane, but you're doing 290 on one of some of your fastest days, depending on a tailwind.
Yeah, look at that.
But we're pretty much faster than a lot of competitors with the 30-knot headwind.
Okay, so let's talk about the weather radar.
Yeah, so that is probably one of the biggest reasons people will go to a 960 is the weather radar itself. And so this is a GMX 8000 weather radar, and the thing that really sells it is that it's fully automated, as pretty much everything in this airplane is. It's foolproof. So to go to the radar, all we got to do is go to the radar settings and then hit auto, and then that's it. I hit auto, it'll auto initialize, it'll auto tilt, it'll auto range, it'll auto scan, it'll auto gain, calibrate gain. So you can see up here on the MFD, it's showing auto initialization. So once that's done, and there we go.
So with this, what's incredible, there's a technique. You want to start painting the ground, then tilt up to eliminate the ground clutter. It's a process.
It's a big process.
This right here, you get a picture that's on par with looking at the My Radar app on your phone. You just turn it on, it initializes, and you let it go. All right, guys, short little demo flight. Again, we went up to flight level 270 to see max performance of this TBM 960. Now, granted, 280 I think would be the fastest altitude in this plane, but we were up to 318 true airspeed, ISO plus 12. So this thing's an absolute beast. We were only burning 66 gallons to get the boss there quickly, which is really nice. So we're already into our descent. If you don't mind, I'd love to hear just a little bit of your story. So you're a relatively young guy. I don't even think you're 30 yet, but you've flown a lot of turbines, jets. You're from Vero?
Yeah, so I'm from Fort Pierce, Florida. Started off as a flight instructor, then worked my way into a survey bird, 310Rs, 320s. From there, I started flying captain on a charter in a Cessna 441 Conquest 2s. And then after that was done, I flew Hawker jets, Hawker 800 and 850XBs, and contracted on the side.
So Nick here, he's a professional pilot with this plane. So this plane, again, it's professionally flown. So while Nick has worked his way up, we do want to share, coming from a Cirrus, and a lot of my clients come from there, you have a very familiar GFC 700 autopilot. There's a blue level button, which is terrific. It has that on here. It has the new radio management units with the G3000. The landing gear illuminates, if you saw that when we took off, so a lot of safety features. And the big thing moving into a turbine is turbine engine management. That's a huge thing, of huge importance, but the FADEC makes it easy and worry-free. Startup is 2 seconds on the starter, you release, it does everything. When you take off, it's like a jet, you just go firewall forward, you get to focus your attention outside where it should be. As we climbed up, we didn't have to worry about our pressurization. It sets it from what's on your scoreboard in the PFD, and then it knows the field elevation at our landing airport. So again, this is just such a sweet machine. So TBM November 960 Zulu, it's coming to market exclusively with Mason Amelia, less than 190 hours total since new. It's a 2024 with the remainder of the 5-year warranty. Happy to tell you all about it. If you like what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, and join my channel.